Hey guys, what's up? It's me, J Daddy, here with another video. And I know I haven't posted in a while. I was on vacation, but I'm back. So today we're going to be looking at all the new, models and such, see how they've updated, let you know, how good they look, rate them a little bit. So first, we're going to be starting with the new Rex model, right? Normal Rex. Alright, here we go. And I gotta say, looks pretty good. Not gonna lie. Oh, I'm not doing that. So, at first glance, right, it's definitely a big upgrade from the old Rex, right? And it is made by Blamison, right? And it's not bad. It's not skinny like his usual model form. Usually his models are really scrawny and not super great, right? But this one's doing alright. Um, it's got good animation, adds a little bit of weight to it when it walks, right? When it sprints, right? It's just kind of, it's not amazing how it sprints. It does open its mouth, so it gives it a little bit of variety. Climbing, forwards, not great. Sideways, not great. Backwards, decent, you know. So, you're not going to be able to really chase after an AV with Rex. And we might do some range tests if y'all want us to, right? Um, don't know when the next Meta Mysteries is coming out. I'm hoping to do another one soon, because I know y'all have been waiting for that for a while now. Alright, here's the roar. Very loud, the same Rex, right? The animation. Very fluid. Goes from left to right, right? Alright, here's the growl. I'm not so sure if the animation for that matches it, right? When it goes kind of like brings his head down and then two up, right? And then here's the call. Really, one of the only problems I have with this model is you can really tell, like, he's got the circles in the back of the jaw, right? I don't love that. It's not amazing. But I mean, I digress. It does have an overbite, which is, stylized for Rexes, because I don't know if you guys know this, but T-Rex most likely have lips. And I say most likely because it is a very argued thing amongst the science community. This Rex is much, much larger than the old classic Rex, which is now called the Asphalt Rex, right? One is much bigger, like a lot bigger. Right, so I'm gonna move on to the next one. Alright, and then the next one we have here is the Albino Rex, right? So, pretty much all this is just a recolor, and honestly, this looks better than the normal one, not gonna lie. But that's mainly just because, white is one of my favorite colors, right? And I think things that are albino are cool. I don't think albino is cool. I think things that are albino are cool. Um, has the same animation set, has it pretty much has the same everything, right? Or right, everything's the same. So nothing different. Just has a different design to it, right? Just add a little bit of white to it. Again, animations are great. Got little tiny arms. Those arms are like really tiny. I don't know if that's to the correct scale, Because T-Rex had small arms, but its arms were around 3 feet long. If you didn't know that, like it had small arms. Don't get it had small arms in comparison to its body ratio, but they weren't small arms. They were 3 feet long. They were pretty big, but that's because Rex was pretty big. All right, next up we have the Silvaphysis. Right, mine's not elder, but I mean same model still. Right, so it's gonna be a pretty small creature. Um, and this thing honestly has needed to get an update for a while. I don't think really anyone's gonna play as it, just because it's weak, right? I don't know ranges or anything like that, but yeah, I mean it's pretty nice. I enjoy it. The walk is pretty nice. I mean, like, you know, it stands on its hind legs, like, and its body is leaned up, right? The sprint, right? I would say the sprint's pretty solid. It's got a little bit of weight to it. It's tiny. It's got a little weight. The roars are probably the same. That one might be different. Yeah, by AoE. That AoE animation's pretty cool. Not gonna lie. Alright, and now this guy. And I want you guys to realize that right now this thing's not elder in the slightest. It's a baby. This thing has about like 2,200 health and probably around something like 150 damage. So this thing is a real powerhouse. This thing definitely knocks Blacko off the top spot of, Gators, right? And I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, it is a Gator. So here's the roar. Here's the growl. Here's the call. Pretty great basic croc stuff, Right? Here's the bite. Looks like it like sinks down. Here's the AoE. Kind of swings twice at you. Very interesting. The body doesn't really move much. I mean, it kind of like sways side to side. Um, but I digress. The legs are a bit weird. They're kind of like in that Starco style of kind of weird geometric shapes. Um, but yeah. It's got the same pattern on its back like Starco, which I'm not necessarily a fan of, but that's personally just me. Swimming, it can swim. If you're wondering, unlike Phalosuchus, it can swim. The tail, a little bit separating. It kind of opens up a little bit on the sides, which I'm not a huge fan of, but, the animation is solid to it, right? It doesn't have any, like, skips in the animation. Sprinting swim opens its mouth a little bit and just swims faster. Seems to be a common occurrence with things that sprint. Uh, yeah, just opens its mouth. I would have to say that this sprint is it's all right. It's not great, but it's sprinting. I mean, it's pretty much just a faster walk. It's walking twice. Um, the climbing, it's a gator, so the face is really in the way a lot of times, right? So you'll fall down the edges. Side climbing, you're gonna do a right on, right? And then tail climbing, you're also gonna be doing a right on. It's not great at any of them. I don't know. I don't think you're gonna be able to chase an AB down very well, like at all, because this thing's actually really slow. I'm a baby right now, and I'm at 15 sprint speed. Like I'm a slow or 15 walk. I'm as slow as a Rex right now. as this thing. An adult, it's like a 12 and 15. It's pretty ridiculous. Alright, here we have the new Shasta model, right? The tooth beak, and like I said, I was right. It was the Shasta. I didn't know it was, but I was right. Yeesh, Zilla. But here's the new Shasta model, right? You got the roar. Very long roar. You got the call. You got the call. Nothing too great about the animations. They're just solid. Kind of see the back of the square in the mouth, but again, not too bad. Don't forget, guys, that Shasta's pretty weak, so don't expect to be, using it in wars too much unless you're just going to use it like Elite Sickness, where you just kind of, you know, just you take the hits, right? AoE, really no animations there. The AoE, although I do have to say, is quite large. It doesn't extend all the way to the tail, but it's still quite large. Here's the bite. Not bad. Hits to the side. Or it bites down. See if I swim up to the surface. 15 moisture. It's actually relatively fast on land. Right, but it's nothing too crazy. Alright, and here we have the Quetz remodel, and it looks a lot like the hats, right, which I'm fine with. It did need a remodel. It looks nice. The walking, looks alright. The feet are kinda in the ground, right? Which is fine. It's not a huge deal that they do that. Just kinda off-putting a little bit. Uh, I don't know if the wings are transparent. They might be. It looks like they might be. If you look over there by the water, going through, it's got like a glass texture. But kind of messes up the model, messes up the model a little bit. Flying, right? It's all right. The wings look kind of weird with that long neck, but then again, that's kind of how Quetz was, right? I feel like the wingspan is a bit small. I could no, that's just a feeling of mine. It's not necessarily true, but it's just a feeling of mine. The wingspan is a little bit small. Um, Flying, right, is alright. Going up, you flap. Going down, you just glide down. And it gives a little bit of curve to it, like there's air going under it. So that's a nice addition. Sprinting glide really doesn't do anything different, right? When I sprint, it kind of just like hops on all four like a bunny, which I don't love. Jump into like a sprint glide. Here's the bite. It's just a little peck, right? And then here's the AoE, which is pretty small. And then here is the roar, the growl, and then the call. I don't think any of those changed. Could be wrong. Tell me in the comments. But on to the next model. Alright, and here we have the next model. Again, not Elder, because I didn't have time to Elder any of these things. And I kind of want to just pump out the video for y'all. I may live stream later on this week, but I'm not sure yet. Y'all can let me know in the comments. But here is the Kent. One thing to know about the Kent is, it maybe gets like 3 times the size at Elder, so it's probably like, I don't know, up to here on the tree at most. And I'm saying at most. This thing's actually really small. Like, as a baby, like, it's quite large for how big it gets when it gets an adult. It's pretty small. Here's the attack animation. Here's the AoE. Here's the roar. It's kind of just like a little honk. The growl is just a squeak. If you remember, it's sped up, so if you probably want to hear it, you can slow down the video and listen to it. Here's the call. Weird sounds, I'm not gonna lie. And it doesn't seem like there's really any animations to the sounds. So that's the downside. Climbing wise, forward, you're not gonna go up. Side, you're barely gonna go up. And backwards, you're also barely gonna go up. So this thing honestly is pretty terrible at climbing. Alright, and now we have the Kaiju Drafty. And let me just put this out here. This thing is massive. This thing's like bigger than Galbera. I'm not a huge fan of it being this large. It's like insanely large. The model came out a little bit better than I thought it was going to. Right, it's not as blocky as I thought it was going to be. It's still not, my favorite model necessarily. It's still quite blocky. I mean, is what the style that Serves was going for. So, it's not bad. Here's the roar. Got the little clicking like quets. Here's the growl. You got a kind of got a mixture of a lot of them. Here, let me show you the growl again. You can really hear that like creaking sound at the end, like Vilex, right? Here's the call. Pretty basic stuff. It sounds friendly enough. So here's the bite. It goes down from the heavens and just smacks you hard. Here is the AoE. The one problem I have with the AoE is it's one of those new ones where it's like it goes out slowly, like fades out and dissipates. Only problem with that is on slower computers and worse graphics, it never works well. Like it always looks bad, right? It doesn't look great on my computer, right? Walking animations pretty solid. You know, kind of colliding into each other, which kind of ruins the immersion a little bit. I'm not going to complain too much. Back legs, I actually think the back feet look pretty nice. It at least conveys to you that it's a sauropod. Overall, design-wise, not super understanding what it's necessarily supposed to be. People like to say that it's supposed to be the female Muda, but the Violex is no offense, but the Violex is pretty obviously female Muda, or was at the time supposed to be the female Muda, right? Um, Here's the sprint. Ooh, okay, so the sprint is actually a lot different from the walk, which I actually really appreciate. I think, and it really shows the way it's moving, right? Feels like it's the right speed for this, which is I can't say for a lot of models they feel like they're the right speed, right? So, there's the walking. All right, so I'm just gonna scroll through an update area, right? So added in Kentro, you see that. Added in Quets, added in Shasta remodel, right? Tyrana remodel, Albino Rex remodel. Alright, so we'll probably go over the restats, right, when we're doing Meta Mysteries. So a health buff, armor nerf, range nerf. Alberto, speed, Pato, speed revert, so it was faster, now it's slow. Eevee is now can't range albino anymore, so it's probably back to the old Meta Mysteries kind of feel. Carnotaurus, speed buff, so it's faster. Dinosaur, bleed, damage, health buff, attack speed, and speed nerf. Podicus, range revert. Elsmosa, range revert, which nobody cares about, like Elsmosasaur, really. Euphocephalus, health buff, armor nerf, range revert. So, can't range anymore. Reno, nobody uses that, but it's range revert. Giraffe, right? Speed buff, damage, and health nerf. Ichthy, damage and health buff. Coelophysis, attack and speed buff, and now has moisture. Interesting. Megalania overall buff, so now it's stronger. Apache attack speed and damage and health buff, so just got an overall buff. Pterodon health buff. Romalosaurus attack speed, damage, and health buff. Dinosaur's attack speed, damage, health buff, speed nerf. Styrac health buff. Thymest Thalm oh my god, I'm so dyslexic. Thalmestodon, range revert. Therizinosaur, bleed and health buff, but an attack and speed nerf. Or an attack speed nerf, I don't know. Oh yeah, it's an attack speed nerf. Tuso, range fix, right, since it was absolutely insane. Adjusting flying and speeding and gliding multipliers, right? Flying and gliding use a multiplier, used to multiply by 1.6, flying and gliding, and flying gliding will now sprint multiplied by 1.9. Now flying and gliding multiplies by 1.2, while flying and gliding, sprinting, while flying slash gliding, while now, oh my god, now flying multiplies speed by 1.2, while flying slash gliding, while sprinting multiplies by 1.5. So that just means that it's slowed down. AV slower than it used to be. Adjust hunger gain values for fish, right? Individual fish now give 21 food instead of 10, while schools of fish now give 39 instead of 50. So they brought the food up for singular fish, but brought the food down for schools of fish. Oh my god. Okay. So added Silvaphysis, added purussaurus, added Kaiju Drafty, turned off random spawns, fixed classic Shasta. Acrocanthasaur growth rate is lowered, so it gets less DNA is really what you gotta worry about that, but it takes less to grow. AV got a speed buff, so it got a speed buff to where now it like walks at 17 and runs at 21. I don't know why they did that, but they did. It still has the same stats, so it's still viable, but now it's faster. But the glide is now slower, so you gotta win lose there, right? Bowler got a speed buff, but no one really uses a bowler, so that's not really important. Brachii got an attack speed and health buff. Decent got a damage buff and a growth rate slowed to 1 and a speed nerf. Alright, so now it gets more DNA. Edmonta gets a health buff. Giganata gets an AoE range nerf, so it's worse now. Giraffe Titan got an attack speed buff and a growth rate slowed to 1.6. Right, so it's still got less health than Barrow, still gets less stuff than Barrow. It's bigger than Jubaro though. At least Kaiju is. Haxigopteryx has a health buff, slowly but surely making flyers more and more viable. Not really, but kinda. Isodactylus damage and health buff. Lucid Titan attack speed, health, speed buff, and then a damage nerf. Megalania, health buff, attack speed, damage nerf. A Puertosaurus, damage nerf, or a Pew. Alright, Quetzalcoatlus, AoE, health, and range buff, so that got really just overall buff. Assaultosaurus, health buff, right? Sora Poseidon, an attack speed and damage buff. Kaiju Poseidon, attack speed, bleed, and range buff. Interesting. Spinosaurus, health buff. Stegosaurus, speed buff, damage nerf. Styracosaurus, health buff. Thalmis, Thalassodromasaurus, damage, health, speed buff. Titanosaurus, health and speed nerf. In relation to new stats, Kaiju Tyrannosaurus lowered health. Interesting. Tyranititan, AoE, and range nerf, so Tyranititan might actually not be in the meta anymore, which is a good sign because I'm sick of them. Now, size increase, Kaiju Spinosaurus is now very large. It's actually Kaiju Spinosaurus is larger than every AV skin. It's bigger than AV, and I think it's also bigger than Albino as well. Kaiju Titanosaur also larger. Size reduction. Albino Terra recolors. So I think that might be like pitch. Allosaurus recolor and Stalker Allo. Ancient Egypticus Spinosaurus. And a fun fact about Egypticus is Spinosaurus Egypticus is Spinosaurus' scientific name. Concavenators recolors, Cryptosaurophagonax, Giganotosaurus recolor, luminescent, pitch luminescent are both smaller, right? They're small now. They're small. The luminescents are small. Soranops recolors, Subnautica jelly Elasmosaur used to be absolutely ginormous. I don't know why they downsized it. Corvosaurus and recolors, Tyrannosaurus and recolors, Tyranitin and recolors, edited sounds, Ancient Egypticus Spinosaurus, Santa Claus, Pitch Luminescent AV, Jellyjoy Concavenator, Kaiju Quetz, Kaiju Saur Poseidon, Wyvern. Right, and then off to the next part. Alright, so we're getting more stuff over the plushes, right? So you get the bite animation for Plush Rex, the running animations for Spino, very interesting, very detached, I'd have to say, very cartoonish. You know, it looks like Spino is a bit faster than Rex, just based off the animation. They have similar animations. I don't think they're the same though. Either or this is walking that sprint. I doubt it. This is just idle for Saltosaurus. You have uh, the sprint animation for the Styrac, which is pretty nice. And then now on to something y'all been waiting for a while. You have, this is the Deep Sea Mega's head, right? So this is the head of the Deep Sea Mega, right? Which I scrolled up a lot, actually. There's been a lot since the last uh, Deep Sea Mega, like a whole lot. Here we go. Deep Sea Mega. So this is what it was looking like, right? This is how it looks, right? And you just saw it with the mouth open, right? So, it looks like it might be closer to being done. So, and uh, it looks alright. I mean, it looks like Megavore, kind of, not a lot. It's very skinny. But I mean, it's not bad. Um, so might actually be one of the last map updates for a while. So they're not really planning on updating the map anymore that much. So you got the underwater area, right? You got more holes in the water, right? And you got these intricate caves with little, like, I don't know, stalactites. I wouldn't call them that, but they're just going down, right? And you got more of this stuff under the bridge, right? You get some more coral and stuff. I'm hoping that herbivores can get under there eventually. Basically, I really want an aquatic spotlight in the next update, so I did as much as I could for the aquatic experience to make it feel more enjoyable and different than the land-based dinosaurs. One thing I have to say about that is it's not the environment necessarily of, like, aquatics. It's just like there's not really like farmable things, and they did start buffing the oxygen a lot more, like I said, which is good because you're gonna start seeing more. The only problem is we don't all the dinosaurs that swim aren't really all that unique. They don't feel that unique, right? And we need herbivores in order. We need to like the Archelon. It needs to be able to eat these. I don't know why it can't. Like it needs to be able to eat the plants. I don't understand why it can't. We need some sort of underwater, you know, plants, right? To encourage players to swim more in the water, right? And you need to be more expansive, right? This mid area where 99% of the people are going to be, the water's not big enough, like at all, right? There's not enough like area where there's lots of water. The atmosphere kind of goes in tandem with it, but the problem is you have to remember that the land animals are really working on like a not really like a they're on like one axis. If you were to put each creature on axis of where they move, they're really just walking along the ground. They're not really like flying or like going down. With aquatic animals, they're not on the ground, so the way the ground forms isn't all that important, right? You don't have to worry really about being able to climb up walls or anything, so you don't have to make it like that. You have to make it like curved and safe. Um, you just gotta you can make it insane things, right? And you're working on a three-dimensional axis where things can go up, they can go down, they can go left, right, forward, backwards. You can go in every which direction, right? And that's what you can worry about. These ones can really only go like side to side and forwards, right? Forwards and side to side, right? So that's that's one of the things is there's a lot that goes into the aquatic animals. And I feel like we really could use an update to where the Q and the E isn't necessarily used for water. It's more of like you can use the arrow to point where you want to go, right? Kind of like in Soria, right? Um, Not necessarily saying that it needs to do that, but it would possibly it'd be a new thing, and I think it might make it a little bit more fun, right? If you're able to just straight up dive straight down, right? Which also the flyers could also use it to where you could like use your arrow to point. Um, I just feel like it would give an additional maneuverability. And I also feel like the semi-aquatic creatures should swim faster in the water. They go their normal speeds and they swim faster in the water, and that will encourage more people to play semi-aquatics, as if they can swim faster in the water, because that will make them, stay in the water because that's where they're really gonna shine, right? So like a Spino might have like 18 like sprint speed on land, but then it could have like 20 or 22 in the water, right? It would really just make a difference if everything was just sped up in the water because they already have it where the aquatic animals slow down on land, right? So yeah, um, so that's pretty much all there is. Here. So that's pretty much all there is for today. Um, Not really much else, right, that has been updated. I mean, it was a decently large update. Again, I want different maps, right? I want to be able to go to those classic maps that I always loved, right? You got winter map and all that fun stuff, but you don't have the classic maps, select map. I understand. My understanding is this once the um albino and mega remodels come out, they're really gonna slow down on the updates. Like they're barely gonna be updating after Dinosaur Arcade comes out. And I feel like just to round out the game and make it to where it's stable for at least like another year or so, right? Uh, I mean, it's gonna be stable either way. It's just like there's not gonna be a whole lot of new people playing. What they really need to do is they need to toss in all those old classic maps, right? And add that private server updates where you can choose what map your private server is, right? Once those updates come out, right? And though I would say they'd be pretty good to leave it for like a few months or even like up to a year without any updates like at all, and I think it would be doing just fine. Just those added things would really help it. It's not gonna really struggle, I don't think. I don't think that it's gonna be dethroned by Dinosaur Arcade. It's not impossible for it to, but it I doubt it, right? And, I can't wait until, all the even more stuff comes out. This newest update, pretty nice. Some of the things I'm kind of questioning on them, why they thought of it, because Kaiju Spino is bigger than things like Zombie AV and Albino, right? They didn't, normal Spino hasn't been updated yet. I'm going to assume that's going to come out with the hybrid update, which is what I'm going to call next update is the hybrid update, because that's when they're hopefully going to be releasing Deep Sea Mega, maybe the Christmas skin for Albino. Doubt it. Deep Sea Mega, right? Just overall the remodels. I don't think AV is going to get a new sprint animation. I don't think that. I don't think that one I believe was made by Forehead is going to be added. I doubt it. It was just a fan made one for fun. Don't think it's gonna be added. He did animate Gab, so it's not possible. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I have for today. And I will see you guys again in probably a stream later on today. Not sure what I want to do. But thanks for watching, and